Joining me now is Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin. He's a member of the Senate Armed Services, Environment and Public Works, Health, Labor, Education and Pensions, and Indian Affairs committees. Senator, I know you were at the Madison Square Garden rally. Give us your reaction to all of this. And I should point out that there was a Instagram piece that I read the other day from a survivor of the Holocaust. And he said that all of them, Kamala Harris, she and Tim Walz, they owe the Trump campaign an apology. He survived Hitler. He survived the Holocaust. And he knows what Hitler and the Holocaust is all about. And they owe everybody who survived a massive apology. What do you make of them comparing Trump to Hitler and the Madison Square Garden rally comparing it to Nazism?
It's dangerous. This is what led to the assassination attempts of President Trump. I mean, here's a party that tries to talk about inclusion and we're for the party of everyone, and yet when they get behind, they go into the to the mode of burn the house down. I mean, they are literally putting out the rhetoric that puts the fear in people, because if you can't get them excited about you and get them willing to follow you because of what your agenda is, the way you get them to move away from your opponent is make them fear their opponent. And so what they're doing right now is they're trying to literally burn the place down by calling President Trump a Nazi, by calling this a Nazi rally. I was there. I was walking around the day before. There was people sleeping on the floor or on the ground trying to get to the rally so they would have the opportunity to get in there and just hear President Trump. Even when we left Madison Square Garden, there was a few hecklers there. But it was New York. What do you expect is going to happen? But there was more people on the streets that was excited that President Trump was there. There was vendors set up blocks and blocks away from Madison Square Garden that was selling product. It was amazing to see the love that people brought to President Trump, and it was fun to meet too, because it's like here's a town just a couple of years ago that if President Trump would have showed up, it would have been absolute chaos. What Trump did is he showed leadership by showing up in the middle of a battleground. Actually, it's not in battleground. In the middle of the enemy's tent, and planted a flag and said, hey, I'm here for all of America. And what the left is doing is saying it was filled with hate. It's just the most absurd thing I've ever seen.
Well, it's worse than absurd. It's so dangerous. I mean, the guy has already faced 2 assassination attempts. And virtually everybody who watched those assassination attempts came away saying this is because of the rhetoric. And yet there is absolutely no consequences whatsoever for this rhetoric from the Democrat Party, and they keep going with it. And you know what struck me about the Madison Square Garden rally? As I was watching Carly from Fox interview people, I kept seeing people with Israeli flags. So there were so many people in the crowds with Israeli flags that were pro-Israel, and they were looking at this rally as so pro-Israel. So how do the Democrats explain that? I mean, it's just, I don't even know. I mean, it's just so disgusting. Why can't they just try to win on policy? Right? Why the name calling? Why not just put your policies up there against President Trump's policies and see if you could actually win fairly?
There's zero chance they can run on their policies. What are they going to run on the last 3.5 years? I mean, what a disaster, right? But you want to talk about diversity. You saw the diversity in the crowd. You saw the diversity outside. You saw how much excitement was following the place. For them to be able to use dangerous rhetoric like this is the most. Yeah, I'd say, it's very shameful, but it also shows desperate. When we were sitting there, I was sitting there at one time and I was watching the feeds from Fox and from CNN, and the headlines couldn't have been any different. And at the same time, I'm watching the rally, and I was like, are they even paying attention to what's being said on the stage? Because it was an exciting time to be an American, just to see the excitement that was happening in Madison Square Garden. It was historic to me. Yeah. I would say it's almost comparable to when President Trump stood up after the first assassination attempt and raised his hand and said, fight, fight, fight. This was almost like a victory rally saying, you can't take me out. In fact, I'm going to show up in the middle of the enemy's camp. I'm going to plant my flag, and I'm going to show you I'm here to lead America.
Yeah, and he keeps doing that. He's going into deep blue regions and commanding huge crowds 1 week away from Election Day. The control of the Senate is also up for grabs. I want to get your take on that, because Texas Senator Ted Cruz is leading Congressman Colin Allred for the Senate seat in Texas. Cruz is leading by 4 points now in a new poll. Nebraska Senator Deb Fischer is leading Democrat challenger Dan Osborne. She's up 2 points. Senator, you've been campaigning with battleground candidates for Senate seats. What are your expectations for next week?
So I have had the privilege of traveling all across the United States, visiting with different candidates, campaigning with them. I'll be with J.D. Vance tomorrow. I'll be with President Trump on Thursday, and then we'll be in the battleground states the rest of the time. I'm telling you, we're going to see. I don't want to call it a red wave, but we're going to see President Trump win on Thursday and shut down this rhetoric. We're going to see Tim Sheehy, retired tester. We already retired Joe Manchin in West Virginia, so we're going to take control of the Senate. And then you're going to have Bernie Moreno, that's going to win Ohio. Dave McCormick is absolutely doing a wonderful job in Pennsylvania. I believe he's going to win. Eric in Wisconsin, man, he is in a knife fight. He's fighting as hard as he can. I think if President Trump is able to pull off Wisconsin, then Eric's also going to be able to win the Senate race. Sam Brown in Nevada. Kerry Lake in New Mexico, Arizona. You got Mike Rogers in Michigan. We're going to win the Senate. It's just by what numbers. There's a chance for us to win up to 55 seats. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's a chance for that. But we're definitely going to be at 51 or 52 in the Senate, and the House is going to stay whichever way the presidential race goes. President Trump wins. Mike Johnson is just going to get a larger majority in the House.
So who do you want to see as the leader of the Senate then, Senator? Because I know that this is a little horse race going on there as well when Mitch McConnell steps down.
I think John Thune from South Dakota is doing a phenomenal job as whip. I'd like to see him as leader move forward. He has showed a leadership style that I haven't really seen before by actually allowing the conference to lead moving forward. So John Thune is a guy that I've been supporting from day one.
All right, great, Senator. We'll be watching all of that. Thanks very much, Markwayne Mullin, joining us this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.